It is. Sure.
Yeah. What's up, guys? I've just confirmed that it's Wednesday. This is SJU on Fandom Entertainment. I'm Joe Starr. These are my Roth Cornet drinks. I've got Dan. I've got Spencer. I got Vanessa Gritton.
Hey.
Happy Wednesday, team.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Hump day.
Hump day.
Whoa.
We made it. I'm just excited that you got here.
Yeah.
Our city's on fire.
Yeah.
Laurel Canyon's backed up.
So, yesterday, HBO Max unveiled their battle plan and the streaming wars, and they're leading with more Game of Thrones. That was their mic drop. We'll get into it.
One more thing.
There was a lot. We're going to talk in general about their meeting. We had some thoughts and some feelings yesterday as we live streamed it as a family. So we're going to get into all that. We're also going to decide, finally, once and for all, which service we're all going to swear a blood oath to. I meant to bring in the old Nick Mundy machete to be a prop for that joke. I forgot it, so the joke is really undercut. But we also, to make up for that, we also have a story about too many assassins, which I'm very excited about.
There's too many in the kitchen.
There's just so many assassins, and then we're going to get to a bunch of your fan questions.
They have the world's smallest knife.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It's like a James Bond weapon. Now pay attention.
Yeah, you got to put that in your boot.
A knife able to fit on this ordinary keychain. Press this button,
I was going to be like,
and a poison-tipped blade comes out.
I'm just going to shake you. That just seems like a small knife.
Grow up.
Not the size of the knife, guys.
It could do a pinky.
Yeah.
Do you have to take that off when you fly?
I don't think so.
They've probably never caught you.
Yeah.
It says a lot about our,
TSA has like, it must be this long to throw in the trash knife thing. Yours doesn't even
Good
rate.
enough for a blood oath, you guys.
Yeah.
It'll get the job done for
Screen junkies. We get the job done for a blood oath. Let's jump into HBO Max because we got a bunch to talk about. So they had their very exciting live stream event yesterday. They announced a bunch of new projects. They confirmed their price point. They're really making they're worth subscribing to. This is their plan to sort of fight Disney Plus. They mic dropped with a big old Game of Thrones announcement that might have been a lot more exciting 2 years ago. Let's talk about Game of Thrones first. So there's been a lot of moving parts for a show that's now dead.
What's dead will never die.
That's very true. Thank you, sir.
Iron price.
Yeah. Look, you bought those lore books. They gotta.
I am a proud owner of the Fire and Blood Targaryen family lineage.
It's a hefty tome.
It's a hefty tome, not a narrative, really. I mean, it's more of a reference book with some stories, some scenes, some events, some family histories.
Some kind of similarian-ish.
Someone will have to do some real adapting to turn that into a show, but I like it. I'm in. I'm not poo-pooing this. You're poo-pooing it? It sounds like everyone's poo-pooing it.
I'm not poo-pooing
I'm not
anything.
poo-pooing.
I poo-pooed nothing.
Vanessa,
I smell
poo-pooing.
I have never once poo-pooed anything on this show.
I poo-poo things all the time, but I've yet to poo-poo this.
I'm not necessarily. I'm poo-pooing the world in which they have had to drop this information because you can tell that like in the months leading up to this, they've been like, oh darn. So okay, the Jane Goldman written Game of Thrones prequel project that was set in the Age of Heroes, not moving forward. That news sort of dropped ahead of this.
They were working on like 4 different spin-off series that at least had like gone to pilot script or something like that.
Yeah, this pilot had filmed. It starred Naomi Watts.
Yeah.
It was passed on before they ordered a series. The other sad bit, I don't have the details on this, but someone posted it in our work Slack because we work at a cool startup and we have Slack.
Nice.
But there was like a guy who was cut out of the original Game of Thrones pilot and recast, and then he was cast in the Naomi Watts one as like a pretty hefty character. And now, poor dude. Poor dude. What is Dead Will Never cast?
Nope.
Get the knife.
Get the baby knife.
Get the baby knife.
Tiny knife.
So the one that has. Sorry, that's
How
just.
Spencer threatens us in the writing.
I get poked.
If this draft doesn't get better, I'm going for the knife.
Yeah, I just feel like we're getting some weird like family stuff with like the new kid like, oh, get off the training wheels on the bike.
Get off the shed.
I'm reaching for the tiny knife.
Brandon, get off the shed.
Get off the shed. So the one that is going forward is House of the Dragon. This is focused on the Targaryen family. The new series is co-created by George R. R. Martin and Ryan Condal. Condal
And Sapochnik, man.
Yeah, Sapochnik. They directed multiple episodes of Game of Thrones, some real solid ones. So they'll be serving as the showrunners for this thing. I just sort of feel bad about the timing, like with all the Benioff and Weiss.
Well, that
news.
was not a great confluence of events.
Yeah,
that happened the same day they announced.
Yeah, that was rough. That was rough.
Yeah, they didn't have any control over that.
Yeah, and then with like the news today that like, well, actually, maybe this had them leaving Star Wars had nothing to do with Netflix, and Disney just sort of like let them walk quietly. It just sucks. It's just more Game of Thrones storm around what was supposed to be like real sick Game of Thrones news. I feel bad. I feel bad for
light
them.
the internet on fire.
This was supposed to. This was their mic drop.
Yeah,
this was their song of Hype and Fire.
Yeah, Song of Hype and Fire. Exactly. This will be a real litmus test of whether Game of Thrones is bigger or is a more expansive world than the one created or brought to life by Benioff and Weiss, because you have George R. R. Martin very involved again. Maybe he was less involved as the series went on, and you have some veterans, Sapochnik especially, who delivered some of the best episodes of the show. So we'll see if they can. I don't know if they've lost everyone's. The hype has died down, but I think everyone's going to check this out of curiosity.
Yeah.
And look. Maybe we're pivoting. Maybe I'm talking about this too soon, but like, this to me is not a reason to sign up for a new streaming service, but it's a reason for me to not cancel HBO.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's a win they have, is that I think I pay $14 for HBO right now anyway, so I'll just upgrade. Vanessa, is Game of Thrones gonna survive, or are they gonna sort of pivot in more like Walking Dead territory, where everyone's like, really?
I literally just started. I think I mentioned this the last time. I just started Game of Thrones now.
Ooh. Sweet summer child.
Sweet summer child. Way later than everyone else did. And even then, this feels like early to talk about. But I will say, from talking to other people that watched it, I think some people didn't feel a good goodbye to the Targaryen lineage with the most recent finale. So
Put it mildly, yeah.
God, I'm so sorry. I have no idea what you went through. But I feel like that's going to be the draw on its own. We didn't really get a good ending there.
Yeah, is this era of the Targaryens and the doom of Valyria and stuff. I think it's cool because it's a prequel, sure, but it's far enough in the past where it's not like too attached outside of the name, the family name, to the events of the original series.
Right. Yeah.
So like you can, like, we know how it ends. We know the Targaryens make it out, but there's still a lot of mystery, and like there's its own dynamics and something that separates it from the era of the show is that like everyone got dragons.
Yeah, the dance of dragons.
Yeah, it's a dance of dragons, if you will. Like they're like taxi cabs.
Will there be a Feast of Crows?
No, there won't.
Wow, no crows.
You're in a completely different part of the world, and there's, as mentioned, a mysterious doom there that happened. We don't know what it was or how it was caused. Really, there's theories, and it's kind of like. It's kind of, I don't want to compare it to Krypton because I haven't even watched that show, but it's like the Targaryens were the ones that are like, the world is ending, and like they got out, but we don't know why or how or what, and so it's an interesting time period.
Okay.
I read, I didn't read Fire and Blood. I read the other thing that you had that I then bought, that like
A World of Ice and Fire.
The World of Ice and Fire, which is basically like the game, a wiki of Throw, but in a book form.
Yeah.
But it goes into the Targaryen.
In the old days, Fandom.com was a book.
Yeah. But it goes into
Not
the
nearly as convenient
Targaryens
as
and
it
the
is now.
lineage and everything, and like it's just chock full of like intrigue and betrayal and everything. Like, so as far as like story elements, they got plenty. Mara brought up something yesterday though that I hadn't thought about, which is that in Game of Thrones, the incest was used sparingly.
Oh yeah, sprinkled on top.
Sprinkled every once in a while, because I think rightfully, even on a show that disturbing, it's still a little much. Targaryens, all incest.
Totally.
Yeah.
All the time.
Brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
All of them. Almost every single one of them. Like, so it's like, are you gonna root for them to like hook up? Like it was already weird to like sort of hook up for like Jon Snow hooking up with.
It didn't. I expected the reaction to be weirder, especially when he was like, "I'll always love," and like it seemed like at no point in the show where they were like, "Oh yeah, that should be the reason we don't bang."
They didn't
and like,
no. So maybe it was
But
like
then,
a
like,
getting grandfathered in, or nephew did, or nephew did. But now, like it's like this whole thing of just like, yeah, I'm gonna marry my sister. Like, are you gonna root for these? Like, the romance angle, which is always sort of a big thing on Game of Thrones, is it's gonna be a little bit tougher to
Wait till I tell you about actual history of monarchies.
Yikes.
I know.
They never met a cousin they didn't want to F.
Exactly.
Best incest ship. Go.
That's not in Shakespeare.
Best
love.
incest ship? Sorry, I'm still hung up on the description of sprinkling of incest.
Way to get out of it.
Dusting.
Because it's like the Targaryen family just didn't say when. Yikes.
They
Best
just like
incest.
each other they love each other very, very,
Very much. Very much.
When you hear your family, they're like the olive.
So they unrolled a lot. We're gonna get into it, but first I also just want to get into the actual event that we spent most of the day yesterday making fun of.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, we did. And yes, yesterday was like an investor.
It's for shareholders.
It was for shareholders.
Ice in their veins.
Yes.
But let's talk about this because, look, Disney announced all their Disney's just got them beat on selling, in my opinion. Disney has D23. Here's all the bells and whistles. You're a part of it. Come on in. Get into whatever their version of Hall H is. Hall, ha, ha. And like, we're gonna sell you guys so hard on this stuff. You're part of the family. Put on your Mickey hat, and it's gonna control your brain. This was HBO Max's massive chance to be like, but not so fast.
Yeah.
And it was Dan.
Yeah, I watched it. I was sitting there watching it, and it's just. Okay. If you want to have an investor meeting and unveil your plans for the next 5 years, and there's a lot of talk about like we're going to invest they're going to invest almost $5 billion into this thing in the next 5 years, and it's not projected to turn a profit till 2025. So, I mean, this is obviously, on a business sense, a huge thing. So, yes, you have to outline that to the investors and answer for questions, and that's essentially what this meeting was nominally yesterday, was an investor meeting. But they also made the choice to live stream it to the internet. And that's what I don't understand, is like, those two things did not go together.
Yeah.
No.
Because it was presented by all of the executives, who I'm sure are wonderful people that are very good at their job.
I'm not sure.
But are not, for these purposes, but are
they're
not
not
the
salesmen.
most dynamic salespeople. So like there's a lot of things where like they would cut to the video, which they didn't show on the webcast, so it would just like cut to a screen that's like, we'll be back in 2.5 minutes with like music, and come back, and then the executive will come out, and like there was literally 5 or 6 times where I turned to these guys and was like, I can't believe this, because the executives would come out and they go like, that's amazing. I can't wait to see this incredible programming on HBO Max. This is truly the future of our company.
Yeah.
And it's like...
It feels very Apple.
It's very... Yeah, it was very...
But like,
it was very
deader
cold.
somehow.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was very cold. It was very corporate. It was very scripted. And like nothing seemed genuine. No one seemed genuinely excited about it. It was
Dance
all
Sam Rockwell out there.
Yeah, it was all very corporate and scripted, which again, if you're doing an investors meeting, I understand. But the idea of like, you are publicly streaming this to the world, and this is in essence your announcement of a $5 billion investment, and yet everything about it was so just sterile.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a silent room. Like there was applause when people walked out on stage, but they would end a clip and there would be no reaction, and people would just be like, what an amazing look at the future of original programming on HBO Max. I really believe that this will be the thing that turns this company into the next era of streaming and media. It's like, if you're gonna live stream it, it just seems odd to me that you wouldn't understand that if the world essentially is watching, you gotta have some element of showmanship.
And it's not like, no, we really gotta make our call outs
don't
pop
live
today.
stream it and just do a shareholder meeting and do a press release or something.
It's not like HBO doesn't have access to talent. You could get, I don't know, one of the Succession boys, or get Issa Rae, or
anyone that's currently on the network, and it's such inaccessible information.
Yeah.
It's to anyone other than people like us that are reporting on the industry. Who is that for? As opposed to Disney, where if you look at their actual like Twitter social media stream, which is accessible to every single person of every single walk of life that would want to actually subscribe to that service, it was, hey, here's pictures of movies you actually care about that lives online forever, that you don't have to go and sit there and watch a long thing of.
Well, and
sorry. They had J.J. Abrams there.
Yeah.
And the only thing they used J.J. Abrams for was they're like, we'd now like to introduce one of our wonderful creatives, J.J. Abrams. And J.J. Abrams comes out and he's like, makes a joke. He's just like, oh, look at me, I'm underdressed. And it got a laugh from the audience and people are engaged. But his only function was literally like, hey, we're here at Bad Robot. We're super excited to work on stuff. And I'm already developing things. And we really look forward to the future.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
And then he leaves on stage for 30 seconds. It's like, wait, like you've got like JJ can, you know.
Yeah, he can go a little bit.
I don't know. It
Simon,
just was
Simon Smith in the chat says Dan wants the masked investor.
Yeah, sure. I'll take it. Yeah, it's just like it was this weird thing of like I think they're doing the Apple thing where they're like, well, Apple streams their investor events and announcements, so we're going to do the same thing. It's like, yeah, but number one, you're not Apple. Number two, Apple's not Apple anymore. And number three, it was just odd for me to be like, this is your big announcement, and you know what the competition's doing, and yet it's just very. It was just literally at one point they were just like, put up a scatter chart of like what all of their things go, and then a later was like, as you noticed in the upper right quadrant of John's graph, there was a lot of data missing. We really believe that these programs are going to hit these data points, and it's like, I understand that's what you tell investors, but like, you're streaming this to the world.
Yeah.
Like, do two events, or it just seemed like an odd choice.
No, it's weird, and the reason why I was sad watching it was because they've screwed this up already. They screwed it up way back in 2014. They did. Remember when Marvel did their fan event? I was yelling. I feel like we're having this conversation twice because I was shouting about it yesterday in the room. Marvel did like a big fan event to unveil their big phase, and that's when they announced Civil War. That's when they announced, I think, Infinity War and Black Panther and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And the headline was, "Oh my God! Like Marvel is like taking the charge. They're doing Captain Marvel. They're doing Black Panther. Holy crap! Like first female superhero movie, first black-led superhero movie. Oh man!" But the thing is like 2 weeks before, Warner Brothers had announced, and in hindsight, it's sort of sad and funny too, but they were like, we're doing a Cyborg movie, we're doing a Wonder Woman movie, but they did another like conference call where they were just like, we're so excited to announce the future of the DCEU, and so everyone just forgot. It was like 2 weeks before, and everyone's like, Marvel's doing the first female superhero movie, and it was like they just announced Wonder Woman, but they did it the same way, and it's like, you gotta learn from these mistakes. You gotta pass out the party hats and like put Kit Kats in these kids' mouths, or they're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I guess like we're just not the audience. You know, the audience is investors.
But we are though. We're the ones that are going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by live streaming it, I think you're saying like, we want people who are excited about this to tune in, and then they tune into this event where number one, they don't get to see any of the footage, which I understand again. But if you're going to live stream it, then and number two, no palpable or visible excitement over anything that they're presenting, which again, I understand they're not showmen, they are executives doing a business proposal.
I think they need a mascot, because Disney is the Disney brand, and that's your uphill. I need this side of the table. Just what is the HBO Max mascot that everyone can rally behind and get behind? Like, is
the sound of static at the beginning of every show.
Sammy the Static.
Sammy the Static.
I like it. Yeah, he's kind of clippy-ish.
Yeah.
But like not horrible.
He's like clippy but aloof.
Ooh, that's cool. I like that.
One correction note, by the way, it wasn't. I don't think it was streamed to the public. I think it was just streamed to press or certain people who could see people who would get the press releases.
Oh, you had a special
It was
link.
not. No, there was a thing you could sign up. There was a thing that said you could go to the HBO website and enter your email address, and that was it. You could watch it.
So you had to sign
yes,
up, but it was
yes.
still available to the public.
you
Okay.
could. Yes, anyone could see it. Trust me. I signed up and watched it yesterday. I have an answer to your question though, by the way, Joe, and I think this solves so many problems. Number one, I love the idea of rescuing animals. Number two, I love the idea of redemption. There's a director of marketing that is out of a job.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Warner Media and HBO Max need to hire Chloe, the director of marketing, formerly of MoviePass, to handle the marketing and promotion for all Warner Media and HBO Max related properties.
Yeah.
She's
Give her the
cute.
HBO makeover.
Yeah.
I don't think it was her fault what happened. She
No.
was putting a
No,
good
you can't
face
blame
on a
good
bad
dog.
situation. We need to rescue Chloe, the director of marketing.
She's a very good dog.
And she's a good doggy. and she needs to be the new new face of publicity and marketing at HBO Max.
Yeah, no,
That's great.
You fixed it. You fixed it.
Chloe, I'm in your corner.
So, speaking of DC, there's a bunch of DC stuff coming. Honestly, this probably should have been their mic drop thing.
Yeah.
Is that Joker's going to
The
be
Snyder
available?
cut. Oh.
The Snyder. By the way, we're all chanting.
They did one more thing. Yeah.
Snyder cut.
By the way, yeah. Like Snyder cut should have been the mic drop,
And
but-
that was what all social media was yelling at them for,
which was amazing.
Yeah. Keep the faith. Keep the faith, my brothers.
So Joker's going to be available at launch. So that's going to be your
Is it
probably
going to launch like next year?
no May.
March?
Or
March,
is it
May.
March,
It's in here somewhere. We'll get to it.
Joker will be out by then.
We'll get to it. But to stream, man, it's going to be a
Okay.
totally different experience. You'll be able to watch it on your phone.
The way it was meant to be
yes.
seen.
Yeah, the way it was meant
Vertical.
to be seen. Yeah.
May 2020.
Watching it on your phone. I still can't believe that song's in the movie, just because it was very silly to me. I also haven't seen the movie yet. I've just seen that clip, so out of context, it was really amazing. Anyway, Elizabeth Banks producing the half-hour comedy DC Superhero High. That's going to focus on a boarding school for gifted kids. Berlanti's doing a Green Lantern
X-Men,
series.
if you will.
Let's say again.
The X-Men? Superhero boarding school?
It's the DC mansion. It's run by Professor DC.
Professor D.
Classic.
Professor D.
I'm Dr. D. Welcome to my school for gifted younglings. This is different, right?
Sorry, side note. I'm going to take us to a side alley here. And this is actually,
With that
apologies.
tiny knife.
On the Star Wars Twitter account released some pictures of Hayden Christensen visiting Galaxy's Edge, which is actually kind of I've given him a hard time, but I like that he's still like engaging with. The
He's
brand
going to be in the new
and
one.
whatnot. And then, yeah, that's but there's one shot of him, and it is a cute shot, but this passed through my head. It's of him in the build a lightsaber thing, like with a little girl with a lightsaber. And he's like leaning over her, smiling, and I was just like, "Look out, youngling! He's gonna slice you in half with that lightsaber."
Anakin's loose in the lightsaber shop.
Exactly. There's one thing I know, which is that you do not let Anakin Skywalker and little kids and lightsabers share a room
No,
together.
never.
Yep.
Sorry.
That would
That's
actually
how
be.
my brain works.
That would be such a good haunted house. The Jedi Temple, the day that Anakin just starts wiping
God.
everyone out.
Oh
That's
my
grim.
god. That'd be amazing.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Just throw sand in his face.
Sorry.
You got one day.
Yeah. I
You got one day to make it happen.
Guys, we've got some space now. We can go out and we can
It's
throw
Joe
this
in a
together.
robe in a room.
Yeah.
Which
It'd be like a picture of Robert England in like,
memoir.
in like a factory with like kids, and the kids got like the Freddy glove or something on.
Yep.
It's like, oh, okay.
so they're also doing a Greg Lantern.
Greg Lantern.
I love it.
I want that show.
Hello, my name's Greg Lantern. I found a lantern by the side of the road. Now I'm Greg Lantern.
Yeah, he's friends
Really into
with
this lantern.
Ray Donovan.
Ray Donovan and Greg Lantern.
It's Green Lantern for dads.
I'm a cop, a regular cop. I do have a lot of willpower, but only to stop drinking.
I'm Greg Lantern.
They're doing a Green Lantern show.
I can create anything I want in a Home Depot with enough time.
Drills, 2x4s, the perfect shade of paint for the garage. All in a day's work for Greg Lantern.
They're doing a Green Lantern show. That's all we know. That's cool. I think
It's
they've
like
been
Green Lantern inspired, which is a little worrying.
Yeah, I think maybe like a Green Lantern core.
Yeah.
Or a Greg Lantern core.
Yeah.
The expanded Greg Lantern universe.
Isn't the movie though going to be Green Lantern Corps? So
I don't know if it's
a nebulous movie.
Yeah, the nebulous movie that may or may not happen.
What's the Red Lantern? Where it's a
Ray Lantern?
It's a cat. It's a Ray Lantern. It's a cat and it vomits blood.
What?
Sorry, what?
Context.
It's part
Red
of the Red
Lantern.
Lantern.
Okay.
There's a
It's a cat.
yeah.
It's angry and it vomits blood.
I want that show.
Next Star is the name of the cat.
Thank you, Dexter the cat.
Star.
That's the show I want.
Wiki. Check it out.
Thank you.
All
right.
Thanks, Fandom.com.
A little corporate synergy off mic over there.
Give me a Dexter
No one
show.
can hear.
Got a good kitty.
I desperately. It's a cat that just vomits blood.
Yeah, it's
Seems like
a Red Lantern. It's a
condition.
cat because Red Lanterns. It comes from a place of anger.
Yeah.
And it was a cat that had a not great life, so it like vomits blood, but it like that's its like power. But it's also like
Not
a
great.
good
Like, was it
kitty.
Heathcliff? Like,
I mean, it
Grew up
could
in a
be.
junkyard?
Maybe it's the new Greg Lantern.
Every cat would be a good Red Lantern.
I can't think of a better fit for the Arrowverse than a blood vomiting
Seems
cat.
like a Doom
Dexter.
Patrol villain, yeah.
I like it.
I got to defeat these villains and figure out which one of these women I'm gonna take to the ball. What do you think, blood vomiting cat? Bryant is also producing Strange Adventures. It's going to be an anthology series of cautionary tales set in a world where superpowers exist. So,
I
like,
like anthology series.
I like
Yeah.
it.
A Twilight Zone, if you will.
Oh, okay. It's gonna be more of a. I thought I went immediately to like Man at Arms at the end of a He-Man, where he's like, "Hey kids, don't carry knives in your pocket.
Yeah.
you'll cut your thigh.
Unless it's a little baby knife.
Yeah, this is the little baby knife. Those are the safe knives to carry. Okay, so yeah, sort of a Twilight Zone of superheroes. That's cool. I like that. I hope that's what it is. Guys, let's talk about Greg Lantern a little more.
They're gonna cross over with Bosch too.
Yes, yeah. Who else is in the universe?
I want to say Burn Notice is in there, maybe.
Probably
One of the Burn Notices.
Yeah. The first season of CSI, but not
Oh, Grisham from CSI.
Yeah.
Grisham
Is
from
Monk?
CSI.
Yeah.
Monk's in it.
Monk or Psych maybe?
Psych. Yeah.
Psych.
Monk's
Psych.
just
more
good.
than
I don't
Monk.
know.
Psych more than Monk.
I think it depends on the dad. I think my dad might be like, I don't like those quippy little bastards.
I mean, it feels like they'd all be on Blue Bloods.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
Tom Selleck is definitely going to be appearing with Greg Lantern.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a Blue Lantern.
It takes place in
He's the
Chicago.
Blue Lantern.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
his blood's blue, and there's a cat. And there's a cat. The other big piece of this, it's official. South Park is going to be a part of HBO Max. Their deal gives the service all 23 seasons plus 3 upcoming seasons. So that also tells us there's going to be more South Park. So new episodes will be available on HBO Max within 24 hours of their initial airing on Comedy Central, rather than waiting until the entire season is done. With the amount of money they paid, I cannot believe that they're not just there when it airs.
Yeah.
But man, Variety's reporting that HBO Max paid more than $500 million for the rights.
That's 1.5 billion plus on 3 shows. Big Bang Theory,
nuts.
Friends, South Park. Just
My
those
God.
3,
Yikes.
1.5 billion.
Wow.
That's Greg Lantern's Venn diagram.
Yeah.
Those are his three favorite shows. So we talked a little bit about this yesterday on the show, or in a previous recent episode. We talked a lot about the South Park stuff. But I guess just in terms of like full portfolio, like, is this a good fit?
Yeah. Well, they got Rick and Morty and stuff, so
Yeah.
you know, that's what they listed their 3 target audiences, which were kids, millennials, and Gen Z.
Ooh.
And adults with a focus on women. Those are the 3 target audiences.
Lady boomers.
So obviously, millennials and Gen Z is where they're heavily investing, particularly with animation.
Do they still
Yeah.
like South Park? Do they still watch South Park?
They think the kids do.
Okay. Those are some foul-mouthed youngsters.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because it's like, if you're talking about those other quadrants and what have you, I feel like if you wanted HBO, you probably have it by now.
Yeah.
So is there enough extra on top of all the HBO stuff to get you to pay $15 a month? I don't think there is. I just don't. I'm not seeing it unless you like Friends that much.
They're making a big play for classic film lovers with Criterion and leveraging the
You get
Warner.
Criterion
See,
too?
Well, you get titles in the Criterion collection. I don't know if it's this at the same
same.
rate the
Yeah.
Criterion channel offers.
That makes
Yeah.
sense to me just because there's a whole group of former Filmstruck subscribers that have been looking for a new home.
But they're small but mighty. I mean, they care.
exist.
They exist.
There's
I'm just
tens
saying,
of us.
I
this
pay
isn't-
for
they're going for
Criterion channel on top of so if they
Yeah.
were to say like I'm folding Criterion channel into HBO Max, if I didn't already have HBO, which I do,
Yeah.
that would be an enticement for
Yeah.
me to say.
Same.
Okay.
But I also think that's the strategy is the small but mighties, because I feel like on the Disney Plus side you just go Disney across the
Yeah.
board. Everyone's just like Disney, and here
Yeah,
they're
but Disney-
trying to unite the clans is what I'm saying. Like,
But they're like spreading themselves too thin because Disney, it's like, oh, I have kids or I like, PG-13 style entertainment. that's like gonna work for anyone.
Well, those kids are going to be able to watch Jellystone, an animated series that's going to feature several Hanna-Barbera characters together, more Looney Tunes, as well as the classic library of Merry Melodies, all sorts of options.
All of them.
Sure, but if you're just in a rush and you're like, I want something for kids, I'll get the $7 Disney Plus subscription.
Yeah, you're going to put on gargoyles.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like they've spread themselves really thin, and I know that they're not overwhelming you in any one of their quadrants, so to speak. That like you feel like you have to get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, 5 to 10 original movies a year to begin with. This is crazy too. 31 original series in 2020, and then another 50 in 2021, which sounds nuts. It's going to be $14.99. They're gonna have a bunch of original programming called Max Originals, targeting kids and family. Yeah, like you said, adults with a focus on women. That was straight off the PowerPoint.
Oh yeah.
I bet it had a.
There's a scatter.
Was there a clip art of a lady with glasses?
No, not quite. But there was a scatter chart. There's like
Just a
men,
clip art of
women,
Vanessa, just like-
age.
This is me watching Sex in the City for the 90th time.
Yes.
Her sell.
Wrapped in a Snuggie, holding like pumpkin spice, and
It's
a
like-
big hat that says "woman" on it.
It's like, who keeps watching the 4th season of Sex in the City over and over and over again? And it's just the slow zoom in, and he's sitting on my couch like, she shouldn't have gone with Big.
No, she shouldn't have. Guys, hey, thank you for liking, subscribing, turning on notifications, commenting, hitting the bell. Boom. I know it seems weird when we're always like, hey, please turn that on, but like in the YouTube algorithms of the world, it matters and it helps, and you guys watching are the reason we get to keep doing goofs on camera, and we really, really appreciate it. We also made a documentary called NeverSurrender. It's about Galaxy Quest. It is screening via Fathom Events on November 26th. You guys are making that possible. You guys going out and getting tickets and coming out to see it are making that possible. I know a lot of people are hoping that it goes wider. And so making this is sort of step one, and then we get the next rung up the ladder. So to say thank you, we've already got one up there. You're gonna
He's got a ticket, but he's angry.
Take a picture with your ticket, tweet it with the hashtag NeverSurrender, and we're gonna shout you out on the show. So let's get that started, like the Black Eyed Peas once said. I wish I was dead. Michael Arnold got my ticks for hashtag GalaxyQuest hashtag NeverSurrender. By Grab Thar's Hammer, I will be there. I wanted to read the whole thing as Alan Rickman, but I don't think he meant that. By Grab Thar's Hammer, I will be there with my dad to celebrate this wonderful movie.
Let people bring their parents.
Yeah, that's really amazing. He also asked, what movie do you like enjoying with your folks? I just bought my dad a movie.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't find it on. My dad really likes. I think it's going to be part of the Greg Lantern universe. My dad loves The Equalizer. Of course,
My
he does.
God, it's a dad movie.
That is a great dad movie.
Loves it. So I just bought him Equalizer 2 not too long ago because he could not find it on streaming. You guys. So HBO Max, take note. You want my dad? You get Equalizer 2.
There you go.
Captain Phillips. That's
Oh,
that's
great
a
one.
big dad. If it's a boat and it's in bad weather, dads
He's in.
love
Dad's
it.
perfect storm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dads like storms.
Yeah. Perfect storm.
I generally end up watching like all the Oscar movies with my parents, around the holidays. It's late in the year. Some real prestige, slow thinkers that we all fall asleep during.
Wow.
I like it. Okay.
Crimson Tide's a big dad movie.
Crimson Tide. That's a big me movie. I just watched it for the first time recently.
Master
and
and
I love
Commander.
It's
Master
dope.
Commander,
Yeah, that's a good dad movie.
I'll say the one that I was most delighted to enjoy with my mom was she a few years ago was just like I haven't seen Mad Max. I'm like, I don't know if you're gonna like Fury Road. I was like, I don't know if you're gonna like it, Mom. She's like, well, I'm gonna watch it, and we watched it, and she was mostly silent during it, and then afterwards she was just like, I love that movie. And every 6 months or so, we'll be on the phone. She's like, I watched Mad Max again. She loved Mad Max Fury Road. So that's a movie that we can now enjoy together. Yeah,
so
my
good.
mom, big fan of Mad Max Fury Road.
That's amazing. Let's throw the next one up. Dun, 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 dun. It's Moody. Y'all know I got my ticks for #NeverSurrender, and I'm making friends watch Galaxy Quest for the first time beforehand. You guys made my year when I got to hang out with you guys for movie fights. Thank you, Moody. You're a sweetheart. She's a lifelong fan. Oh, we got a picture up there. Throw that picture back up. We got a photo with the gang. Hey,
Back when Spinny was the champ. Oh, look at that.
That dates it.
Dates it.
And Joe, you're wearing a Fury Road shirt.
Yeah. Hey, that worked. And I also still have my glasses. I just I haven't replaced them yet because I'm lazy, and they broke like a year ago. And we met outside of Terminal Nerds when she came into town. Too.
Nice.
She came to the show. We got to hang out outside of UCB a little bit. It was super cool.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Let's throw up another one. And also, thank you for making people watch Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. Deserves to be watched. We've got a couple more. Michael B. Musgrave Perkins, related to our CEO, possibly. 20 years ago. Oh, Perkins is also his first name. That's not how names work at all. 20 years ago, I went in the wrong theater, accidentally watched the opening scene of Galaxy Quest instead of Sleepy Hollow. Should have stayed because Galaxy Quest has way more watchability. IMO, that means in my opinion. Thanks, Green Junkies. Love from Missouri Flyover Country. Always enjoy Arkansas and Kentucky anecdotes from Joe and Dan. Dan, give us another Arkansas anecdote right now.
Oh, well, we were directly to the south of Missouri, and I used to enjoy That's not an anecdote.
It's a fact.
It's an introduction. People don't know that because we're flyover country. They don't care about geography. It's like, I know California, New York, and blob in the middle. I've been to Branson. With my folks several times. The family trip up to Branson and St. Louis. People don't know this because I were at Florida State. I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan because that's where we would go to watch baseball games. So it's not really so much an anecdote as I love Missouri as well. Been there several times.
Joe, Kentucky anecdote.
Oh my God. One time when I went to school at Western Kentucky University, I was in a band and we were driving to Paducah and we were running late and we had a church van, and that's the van our band drove in, and we got pulled over for speeding because the guy driving the van was a terrifying driver, and a cop pulled us over and we told him we were running late and that we were a praise band and we were running late for a youth service.
My God, Joe.
and he was like, just get there safely and thank you for doing the
You
Lord's
literally
work.
pulled a "Do you know who my father is?"
I'm Megan McCain to before she was McCain, baby. And then finally we've got Mike Verdugo bought his ticket and said, for F's sake, I gotta wait a whole month. Yeah. I appreciate you waiting that month.
Thank you for waiting.
I appreciate you waiting. Good job on privacy for not sharing that ticket confirmation. Scalper's gonna scalp. You gotta be careful. We appreciate you waiting a month, and also we appreciate people that can't see it on this round waiting longer as we sort of figure out what round 2 of releasing the sucker's gonna be.
One of these streaming services will buy it. Come on.
One of them has to.
Yeah, Quibi.
Come on, Quibi. Release it with like 4-minute increments. It'll be fantastic. Crackle will
Chicken soup
take
for the
it.
crackle.
Home of Joe Dirt too.
Come on, guys. We're also doing some call-outs this month. We're calling out an organization called 826LA that we're also going to circle back and call out for December. Dan, you want to chat a little bit about 826?
Yeah, 826LA, nonprofit, as we've been trying to feature nonprofits this year, try to give back as best we can. They support under-resourced students ages 6 to 18 with creative writing, expository writing skills, help teachers inspire their students to write, basically trying to inspire the next generation of people that write the movies and TV and books and plays and short stories and everything else.
That will be at this table 20 years from now.
Yeah, that will be at the, exactly, criticizing us, because that's the circle of life, and that's how it works. First of all, it's just the idea of, I can speak from experience how much one individual can make in a creative, for someone that wants to express themselves creatively. Unfortunately, that's just not an avenue that's encouraged in all curriculum and in all places. So this is great work. They're not just in LA. They're currently in 9 major U.S. cities. They serve nearly 40,000 under-resourced students each year, thanks to almost 5,000 volunteers. There are 50 826 inspired organizations across the globe. So Spencer, you've had some experience with them, right?
Yeah, I volunteered for a nice spell about 10 years ago when I had time to do nice things. And it's a fantastic organization. You know, you're there after school. The kids all come in. You help them finish their homework. Everyone finishes their homework, gets it done. Then you have fun. You do something cool. You make a children's book. You write a Christmas story. There's all these awesome themed projects, and they get so good at writing. They do plays. They do screenplays. They do all these cool projects, and there's a lot of cool ways you can support it, even if you don't volunteer. They have these like fun, like fake product shops, like the Time Travel Mart and stuff like that, where you can buy all these silly things that's like, you know, like Urban Outfitters if it didn't suck, like fun things you could actually put around your home. You can get these compilations that the kids actually make of like I think it's called the Best American Non-Required Reading. It's like a compilation of like the best fiction and nonfiction through the year as selected by these students. Or just come by and volunteer and help a kid out. It's super cool.
And we've got links for both 826 LA specifically, and then the 826 sort of like national portal in the description. So please check that out and read up. Hopefully someone will write a story about this next story. This is via Metro and the Beijing News. I'm so excited about this. An assassin hired too many assassins. This is the actual headline of the story. Hitman hires hitman, who hires hitman, who hires hitman, who hires hitman, who tells police. I love this. 5 hitmen have been jailed for attempted murder after each one avoided carrying out the contract themselves so that they could make a profit. Capitalism, baby. A Chinese businessman was looking for a hitman to take out a competitor and was willing to pay 2 million yuan to get the job done. The hitman that the businessman hired decided to offer the job to another hitman for half the original price. The second hitman then subcontracted to another hitman, who then subcontracted to a fourth, who gave the job to a fifth. However, hitman number 5 was so incensed at how much the value of the contract had fallen, he told the target to fake his own death, which eventually led to the police finding out about the plot, and then they all got in trouble. Discuss.
This is multi-level marketing for hitmen.
Yes, 100%.
This is Avon for hitmen. They figured out a pyramid scheme.
Hitman lady.
Yep.
Wasn't this Smoking Aces?
It seems like something like Smoking Aces. Like,
Yep.
is Jeremy Piven involved in this in any way?
He might have been one. He might have been Hitman 4.
Yeah.
How do I get the rights to this?
Right?
Yeah.
I want. Give it.
Unveils Chapter 4.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can Keanu play all 5 hitmen? And it's like a
Oh my
multiplicity
God.
situation where like
Yes.
each
God, I
John
love
Wick
multiplicity.
is a different kind of hitman. They're like quintuplets. Is that 5? I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, they're all hitmen, but they're all different people, and they're all Keanu Reeves. Copyright 2019.
Yeah.
That's how
I think
copyright
we just
works.
need to write out to Beijing News. We need to reach out and just like snag this because I love this.
John Wick burning the wick at 5 ends.
We did it.
There it is.
We did it.
I love that the way that they got caught was not that the conspiracy was too big, but that the 5th guy eventually gave up and was just like, hey, listen, dude, can you just fake your own death? Because I don't really want to, this is crazy.
I want $1.
Yeah.
Like whatever they offered the last hitman must have been so
I'm
pathetic.
paying $10 to kill a guy.
For him to ask the guy to fake his own death.
Well, I
Like,
think-
would you mind?
By my math, if you have it once, that's 109,000, and then if you have it again, that's like 55,000, and then you have it again, it's like, so you're down to like 12. If they're having it each time, you're down to like 12,000.
At this point, it's like a
pounds by the
Groupon
time.
assassination.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a pittance for killing someone.
That's amazing. I do feel like this would be a good like Pink Panther-y like kind of Man Who Knew Too Little like moron movie. I think that this would be, or like a Burn After Reading type Cohen thing.
Or just like a word problem from the cool math teacher.
Yeah, that's also true.
5 assassins go. You mean the math teacher that like sits in the chair backwards and is like, call me Dale, it's cool.
Yeah.
Mr. Gibbons was my father's name. Apologies to any Dale Gibbons that are watching the show that now feel completely called out. That's my bad.
It's a great name though, Dale Gibbons.
Dale Gibbons.
Congratulations on having an awesome name.
Dale, that would have been a solid, like when you were in the improv troupe and you just had one go-to name. Dale Gibbons. I feel like that's
Is your name Dale Gibbons? Do you know Greg Lantern?
Let us know
in the comments.
In the comments.
My
What's
favorite
Dale's name
fake-
on King of the Hill?
Wasn't it
Gribble.
Dribble?
Gribble, yeah.
Gribble.
My favorite fake name of all time is still Carl Parsley. I'm trying to remember
that's a
what.
good one.
Fake name.
It was from like one of those NCI, CSI type shows where
Parsley, that's good.
somebody looks to camera dramatically and goes, "His name was Carl Parsley."
Oh,
and
I
it's
have
stuck-
seen that clip.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. My favorite was the one that Michael Vick used to buy Viagra, and I believe it was Ron Mexico. This is a pre-dogfighting scandal. This was his big scandal, was buying Viagra under an assumed name.
That's
Ron
I'm checking
Mexico.
into.
No one will
every
ever
hotel.
suspect Ron Mexico.
Carlos Danger was also.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, Carlos Danger was. What was Romney's fake Twitter?
I was
That
just trying to remember that too.
Pierre LeFou or
Yeah,
something.
Pierre LeFou. Yeah, Romney.
Closely related to Robert California.
Fake Twitter.
Robert California is a great
is a
from the Office. Is a great
solid.
fake-
Pierre Delecto.
Pierre Delecto.
Pierre Delecto
That's good, too.
is currently doing business with Ron Mexico. Neither of them suspect anything. Let's do some fan questions.
All right.
James Engelbert asked, is there an animated movie you think should have won Best Picture? If not, do you think an animated movie will ever win Best Picture? Anybody got some immediate thoughts?
I have to look up some years.
Yeah, and then
It's like, what did win Best Picture that year?
Yeah.
I think in general we have a
What won Best Picture the year Spider-Verse happened?
Green Book.
Green Book.
Green Book. Okay.
Okay, so Spider-Verse. The answer is Spider-Verse. That was an easy one.
100% Spider-Verse. I do think the U.S. has a weird thing with animation
Yeah.
where it's like, it's for babies. Or it's that movie where they used all the mocap to like animate
Like Scanner
people.
Darkly?
Yeah, or it's either it's for babies or it's Scanner Darkly and Assault in College. Like those
Right.
are the
I think
two.
Akira is better than Rain Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird movies to compare, but I think the test of time, Akira has held up better than 1989's Best Picture winner.
I
Rain
will
Man.
absolutely give you that. I've thought about it a little, and yeah, you're right.
I think a lot of the classic Disney films are worthy. I'd have to go back and look at the release year, but
Yeah.
Pinocchio
Sure.
springs to mind as a film
Let's
that I
see.
think is worthy of at least being in contention.
I don't mean to put you on the spot. Was Lion King nominated?
No.
94?
The Beauty and the Beast was nominated.
Okay.
And then because there were only 5 slots, it was a long time until again there was another animated.
For the crowd.
I mean, 94 was such a good year. It's like
94 was also a murderer's row
Sure.
of great movies.
Sure.
Yeah.
I remember there was this French
Mm-hmm.
animated movie that won, I think it was like Best Foreign Film or Best Animated that year, that I always feel like it should have taken home a little bit more. A Cat in Paris. Not a ton of people saw it, but it's I think it's Jason Blum or something. Steve Blum voiced, so it has the great deep Toonami Spike Spiegel voice to it. But it's this really good like detective mystery through the eyes of a cat, and it's one of my favorite animated movies I've ever seen. And the only reason I found out was because it won Best Foreign, but it really should have taken more that year.
of
Snow
cat-
White is better
Cat today.
than Snow White's better than The Great Siegfried. I haven't seen The Great
What?
Siegfried, but I'm just gonna assume
I think that's fair.
it was a better film.
For reference, there's been 3 animated films nominated for Best Picture: Beauty and the Beast,
Beauty and the Beast,
Up,
Up.
and 2009, and Toy Story 3.
and Toy Story 3 are our only.
Those are the only ones? Wow.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of. Well, we run into I think the problem too, where the Academy has like they're like sort of like foreign film, division over here, and like it takes a lot. I feel like for those movies to break out into a larger category, and that's a problem too, because like Best Animated, I think here just means like which Pixar movie is going to get a trophy this year, whereas like. Internationally, there's a ton of really great animated content.
I'd put Inside Out up against, at least in competition with the other films from that year.
Yeah.
Birdman, I think, was
It was either Birdman or Spotlight. I don't
Yeah.
remember which, but yeah.
Inside Out had screenplay nomination.
Screenplay, yeah. I'd put it up there for Best Picture.
cool.
I don't know
There
if
you go.
I'd say I'd win, but I'd put it up there.
Agreed. Dante Santella asked, what unknown actor, director, etc., that never got their big break or recognition do you think should have been more famous or well known?
She had a big break, but whenever I say her name, nobody really knows what she did, and she didn't really get as much work as I think she should have for what she did after. But Mary Harron, If that doesn't ring any bells, that's why I'm saying her name.
It did not.
Because she directed American Psycho. She directed American Psycho, and she's why that movie works.
Yeah.
Because that movie, if you read that book, woof. And she's subtracted everything that was way too Bret Easton Ellis about it. And not only did she add this like sick dark humor that made fun of like the hyper masculinity that was almost too into itself that American Psycho had.
Yeah.
But she got that performance out of Christian Bale. She got that Huey Lewis and that in the news. If you watch that scene, it's layered with so much performance. And Mary Harron is why American Psycho worked, and nobody really knows her name.
What happened?
Hollywood.
Hollywood. All right. Fair enough. I'd go. We were just talking about animation. This guy Don Hertzfeldt, I love.
Oh my god, I love Don.
Yeah, I think he's actually been nominated, if not won, like for animated short before. And you can find some of his stuff on YouTube, but he also makes like, I guess his stuff kind of falls between animated short and feature film. Like he came out with this amazing movie that's like, it's like 40 minutes long. So it's like, is it a feature? Is it not?
Right.
And he just hasn't gotten the opportunity or hasn't been interested in writing or directing a bigger animated project, because I think he does it all himself. But that guy.
It's a Beautiful Day was the short, right?
Yeah, It's a Beautiful World.
It's a Beautiful Day or It's a Beautiful World or something like that.
that.
And then most people just know him from like the short animated stuff they see on YouTube where it's like, my spoon is too big. Yeah.
And ripped off by
a banana.
Pop-Tarts commercials.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But I'd qualify him as sort of unknown and should get a bigger break if he wants it.
Yeah. I think, I think everyone knows who Catherine O'Hara is, but I don't think she's ever really gotten the credit she deserves for being as phenomenal as she is. I think she came up in an era where I think the ceiling for a comedic actress was going to be, you are a specific thing, and you will get to do it a lot, and you will get to do it very well, and you will work a lot, but like that's the ceiling, and we hadn't really hit. I think today, if she had come up today, there'd be a lot more opportunity for like Catherine O'Hara as like a leading lady, a marquee name. She's absolutely incredible. Anything she does, I think, is just really brilliant and different and weird, and I just think she should have been a better deal. And then I think more recently, Jessica Roth in Happy Death Day. I'm amazed that performance didn't get her handed at most things. It's a really fantastic, and maybe it's because it's a genre thing, so now everyone's like,
Typically so.
yeah, like
Still early for her. I'm not going to counter.
I mean, yeah,
yet,
she's
you know?
like, yeah, she's not like on the way out, but
But yeah, she like. Typically for women in horror, you tend to get a one note, and then that's what you get to have, and you don't get to play with much. And Happy Death Day was a great script, but like she really made you care about that character and following her journey not once but twice.
yeah, agreed.
Well, the one that springs to mind is not should have, but would have is John Cazale, who is in like 5 of the best movies ever made, and then tragically passed away. Like, I think had circumstances been different, he would have been in the same breath as Pacino and De Niro, Hackman, all of that entire group of actors that were coming of age at that time. There's a director called Billy Ray, who now mostly is known as a writer, and he's done a lot of work on movies like Gemini Man, which a lot of writers have that because it was like a 10 years in development script, and he's got a writer's credit on the new Terminator film and Overlord. But his first 2 films, particularly Shattered Glass, one of my favorites, and the movie called Breach, with Chris Cooper and Ryan Phillippe, about a guy who leaked information, government information, and like finding the guy. It was basically like, I don't know if you remember, like about 15, 20 years ago, there was an information leak, and the guy who was in charge of finding who leaked the info. And Chris Cooper is in it, and he's amazing. He's fantastic. And then Shattered Glass, which I think is an amazing Hayden Christensen performance and an amazing Peter Sarsgaard performance. But his first 2 movies are great, and then he did another one called Secret in Their Eyes, and then that's the last movie he directed back in 2015. So he's only directed 3 movies, but I think he's a fantastic director. I haven't seen Secret in Their Eyes. Shattered Glass and Breach, I think, are both great movies, and just for whatever reason, he's been a lot more. I mean, he's a very successful screenwriter, but he's done like State of Play and a different other movies, but his career path has taken him more on the writing side, and I think that he is a fantastic director, and would love to see him direct more things, more films. He's done some TV work, but yeah.
One more fan question, and then we're gonna get out of here. Fluffypro asked, "Can you read my spooky fan fiction?" And our answer is yes.
Oh.
Yes, we will. So here's the script.
Oh, wow.
Oh my
Surprise.
god.
Here's my script.
Okay.
Here's your script. I'll read stage directions, and you guys can pick characters as we go.
Can we play ourselves?
I don't think we should. Wait, I don't know. I haven't thought about this really outside of Should we?
I think
people
Vanessa should play Roth.
Okay. Yeah.
Just spitballing here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't mean to typecast you. If you want my part, we can trade.
I mean, I could try for range. No, I'll do Roth.
You want Roth and Joe, and I'll stick to stage directions.
I'll be a Joe too.
I'm not a good actor. Okay. This is called Chair of Doom, a Screen Junkies fan fiction. I'm holding for music that you guys can't hear, but the audience can.
Oh, nice.
okay.
Oh.
I planned this. Dan Murrell sits at his desk for his favorite time of the week, charting with Dan. He's extra excited today because he has several charts planned that show how Cats took the box office record for highest grossing film from Avengers Endgame. Dan and Lon begin the show with excitement. Also, Vanessa, play Lon.
Got it.
Hey everyone, welcome to Charting. We're going to discuss the cat's meow of the box up.
Suddenly, Dan notices the desk is getting higher. Wait, no, his chair is getting lower.
Very funny, guys. Now, who switched my chair with the sinking chair?
That's you.
What?
You're Lon.
Yeah, also play Lon.
Oh, I'm also Lon?
Yeah.
Got it.
Put a
I
lot
thought you
on
said
you.
play along, and I was like, I'm trying.
Play along.
Vanessa, stop being so shitty about this.
And play
I'm
along.
not sure. I thought I got rid of that chair a while ago.
The next day, the SJU gang was shooting a very special episode featuring Dan's. Okay, hang on, pause.
Yeah.
Producer's note: Scoops McGee is not a character. He's a person that we know.
He's a tipster.
But we'll go for artist intent. We will go forward with the assumption that he is a
unpaid contract
character
character,
played
sure.
by Dan, which is
It's a world where
ridiculous.
I play Scoops McGee.
Yeah, so sort of an alt reality thing, which cool. I like alt history. The next day, the SJU gang was shooting a very special episode featuring Dan's character, Scoops McGee. Roth, Joe, Dan, and Spencer are all on the show. Dan waits behind the set to show up in his outfit, which would be a creative way for you to do it if you were different people, while Roth introduces him.
Kurt Russell would eat Chuck Norris for lunch. I bet he tastes like old jerky. Can we start now? Good morning, everyone, and welcome to SJU. You might be wondering why we have one empty chair. Soon it will be filled by our special guest, Scoops McGee.
Dan runs by in his Scoops outfit. Joe laughs hysterically.
Hey, it's me, Scoops! Oh!
Dan sits on his chair and it sinks so quickly that he falls to the floor.
Sorry, folks, I stole that chair from Harrison Ford's garbage.
You do a really good Scoops. Joe laughs even more hysterically. Are you okay, Scoops? Oh, wait, sorry, you're playing me. I just see my name when I say things.
I think this was the work of our own prank master, Spencer.
It wasn't me. I'm the snark master, not the prank master.
Later that night, Dan is at his desk at home working on his...
the worst part in the whole thing.
I didn't realize.
I'm gonna take that line again.
Yeah, take
It wasn't me. I'm the snark master, not the prank master.
Later that night, Dan is at his desk thinking about Spencer's line and working
gonna
on
be
his
the
latest
chair
chart.
also.
Yeah, yeah.
Finally, my chart on top grossing talking animal movies is finished. Oh, come on, not at home, too!
Dan's chair sinks deeper into the ground.
Oh, no!
Dan falls down a fiery pit until he's face to face with a giant chair.
Welcome to check. You thought you sent me to eternal damnation, but I have become lord of the chair underworld. With my new dark powers that come with my position, I'll turn you into a chair. I'll make you suffer like I did.
You already made me suffer by being a crappy chair!
The chair fires a beam of light at Dan.
No!
Dan wakes up in his bed.
Oh, thank goodness. It was only a dream.
Dan starts to get out of bed and looks down.
No!
His legs were replaced with chair legs! The end! That's our show! Happy Wednesday! We'll see you tomorrow on SJU. Bye!
My God.